Well, Happy New Day, CSA. How feels each and every one of you this wonderful, lovely new day? How feels beautiful, handsome, enlightened, and fantastically prosperous and healthy you this wonderful, lovely new day? I welcome all of you to today's program. You know, I went to the market last Monday, and normally I use about 1,200 Ghana cedis to buy food for the week. But when I was going to the market on Monday, I felt, let me take about 2,000 cedis so that, during the day I can buy some supplies for health works also. And believe you me, when I got to the market, I asked how much tomatoes cost. And a bowl of tomatoes I used to buy for about 200 cedis. They told me it was 900 cedis and that they will give it to me plus 50 cedis of their cost. I can take it for 700 cedis. I stood, I went and I paid for it. By the time I finished, the 2,000 cedis was also finished. And I noticed I buy roasted plantain and one slice, not the full plantain, but a slice of the full plantain roasted. I was buying it for 2 and 3 cedis. I asked, they said 5 cedis. And I said to the lady, now maybe I will take a break from buying roasted plantain from you. But when I went home on Monday evening, I sat down and I said, well, I'm not the only person who has been to the market today. A lot of people will be feeling pressure on their finances with regards to buying things. Then on Tuesday, a friend of mine called me and told me, Doc, I'm broke. And I said, you are not broke. Just stop saying that. I said, Now, the person used to buy onions from Niger and sell them here and buy salt from here and send to Niger. He said, now we can send the salt and we can bring the onions. So I asked why. He said, Niger has closed its border. And so you need about 21 days or more to bring the thing. And by the time you bring it here, your goods would have spoiled. And I said, but what about tomatoes from Burkina Faso? He said, don't talk about it. Niger and Burkina Faso, they have military regime. They have literally closed their border to trade. I said, hey, so are they going to punish us because they have assumed power? He said, well, whatever you want to do, do now. And I know that tomatoes are grown in Navrongo and Denma and the Adan area. But I wonder why most of our farmers don't take the chance that, look, tomatoes are essential to our food chain. Let us produce more. Let us get more seeds and produce a lot. Whatever we produce, we'll be able to sell. But no. And we had a client at HealthWorks. He said he was a farmer, and we were talking about this thing, and he said, you see, normally it is not we the farmers who increase the price, but the people who come to buy from us. They tell us sometimes they bring the chemicals for the tomatoes and tell us, grow your tomatoes with this, you will kill the pests. And you use that, when people eat it, it affects their health, but they don't care. And you, the farmer, if you don't use it, your other farmer will sell his produce and you will not be able to sell yours, so you are forced to. And I said, so our aim for profit is making us lose sight of how to love people, how to serve people. You see, I always tell you, love people, serve people, remember God always. And don't let anyone's activities stop you from practicing this loving people, serving people, and remembering God always. Let that be your motto, and in the end, you will succeed. You know, I went home and sat down, and I said, the conscious awareness of my oneness with God is the basis of my prosperity. God can, does, and will meet all my human needs on time and in divine order. I did not deviate from it. I said it. And during the week, resources came. I have another 2,000 extra CDs to buy, whatever. But for those of you who are finding it hard with your economy, look, God expresses through all of us. You understand? So God can express through you, through a friend, to meet your needs and be grateful. You see, gratitude increases your supply, and ingratitude decreases your supply. And so be grateful to God. Be grateful to God through and as man when he expresses that way. You see, I have no doubt that some way, somehow, this thing will prick the minds of our farmers to grow more. Because how can we have borders, okay? You know, we live in West Africa. We have a West African community, economic community. We have borders. And then some people will say, well, we have the tomatoes, we have the onions, but our borders are closed. We will not let them come. And you two take yours. Whatever you produce, take yours. We are going to take ours. You know, there was a time when there was a dam in Burkina Faso, and they will spill the dam and it will flood parts of the upper east to the northern region. It floods and sometimes people die. And this thing has been going on, and I ask myself, if this thing is a life-threatening situation, why doesn't the two governments cooperate to lessen the impact? But you see, the thing is that because no so-called big person is hurt or dies in the event, it's business as usual. And so you should know that This one is between you and your God. And like Arjuna, his despondency. You see, sometimes you have to speak out. If enough of us speak out, it will prick the conscience of the policymakers, and they will do something. Either we speak out or we act. We can turn ourselves into farmers and grow the tomatoes. You know, one time when we were at the old site, the CSA, the old site, we bought a lot of mangoes and we distributed them. We ate them, but with the catch that everyone should grow at least a seed. I don't know how many of you grew your seeds and if you have mango trees in your homes. But for those, you know, recently, Auntie Peace started bringing me mangoes. And Atakwashi grew the mango seeds in his home, so he always has mangoes. And when Auntie Peace gives me the mango, I say to myself, you see, I'm receiving the seed that I planted in the mind. So whatever you do or say comes back to you. You should know that. Whatever you say to yourself, whatever I do or say comes back to me. And you learn this lesson that if you cheat someone, expect to be cheated. They say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I sent a present to a CSA member, and he sent me a parcel. And I was not expecting parcel from him. So I sent him, I said, oh, that's a surprise. Anyway, thank you. And then he said to me, Reverend, I'm doing what you have taught us. I'm doing what you have taught us. I traveled, I saw something, I said, oh, here. And he had also prepared a parcel for me. You see, even though I was surprised, I should not have been surprised, because one good turn deserves another. Look, whatever the situation is in the country, I was in India and I turned on the television, and no, it was on the flight, on the way back to Accra, from Delhi to Dubai. I turned on the television on the flight, and in London, in Great Britain, on the news, they said that a lot of big companies were closing down in England because of the economic hardship. And the government was telling them, don't panic. And I said, you just don't tell them don't panic. Because someone has just lost his job. And when he had a job, his money couldn't maybe go around, take him around. And now he doesn't have a job. And you're telling him don't panic. If that person does not solely depend on God absolutely, that is what makes some people think of committing suicide, because they don't find a way out. Or they will say, okay, I'll become a thief. Situations put pressure on people to do things that they normally would not want to do. You know, one time, Reverend Ishan and myself were going on a walk, and we saw a crazy person, and he opened a pub, a dump boiler, and he took food, and the stench coming from the rubbish dump. I said to myself, how can this person eat this thing? But the situation in which he is, he feels okay. You wouldn't eat from that, but the situation he finds himself in, that suits him. All right. But under normal circumstances, we should all absolutely depend on God for our supply. Whatever the need is, God will show up. Whatever needs you have, just say, you see, when you are aware of your oneness with God, can God be poor? Huh? But we can make God as you poor. You understand? God is not poor, but God as you can be poor because of how you program your mind about life. Because whatsoever you accept, assert, and give consent to as true about yourself and about your world becomes your reality. Your state of consciousness determines your experiences. And so we must have a state of consciousness where we feel our oneness with God, because our oneness with God produces all our good. There is no limitation when we are aware of our oneness with God. There's no limitation. Now, whatever and whenever you feel that there is pressure on your finances, or even before then, your constant affirmation, realization should be the awareness of my oneness with God is the sure basis of my prosperity. For God can, does, and will meet all my personal or human needs on time and in divine order. You keep on saying this, and it will open doors that seem to be closed to you. Look, it has been found out that if you repeat affirmations to yourself 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times in the evening, you do this for 21 days, you'll experience a new reality. But sometimes, your consciousness is ripe. So maybe even the first day you say it, you begin to see the results. And so, do not belabor the point. Just put the affirmation into action. Put a new course into action. Whenever you see a challenge, then bring a new idea that defeats the challenge. I went to a temple with this new friend of mine in India. And in the temple, there was a statue. There was a drawing. It was a drawing. And it had the aspect of God seated, and on his foot, it had pressed like the demon or the devil pressed it down. And he said to me, "Sir, you see this picture that the God has pressed the demon down." He said, "You see, sometimes people think that the demons must be killed. But look, they are necessary. Because without evil, no one will look for good." You understand? And so they remind us of our higher nature. And so you suppress them. Because all of your self-discipline is to suppress that lower nature from taking over your mind. You look at the yamas and niyamas. If you have not learned how to be harmless, like when you are coming to, yesterday my brother and I were going for a walk on the mountain in the morning, and we saw some people. One man passed by it, and I saw in his clothing, on the side, that he had a pistol, on the side. And I said to my brother, "Look, the man has a pistol on the side." And I was asking myself, who on this trail will come and attack you? You understand? But he's saying, "I'm using it for my protection." I don't have any security guards here guarding me, but some pastors have security guards guarding them. I went to California to do a program, and on the Sunday morning when I arrived, I was taken into an office, and they said I should rest there, not knowing they have put a security guard to take care of my needs. And I wanted to go and urinate. I tried to open the door. The door was locked. Then I hit the door, and then the man opened it. I said, "Sir, I want to go and urinate. Where is your urinal?" He said, "Let me take you." And he took me there. He stood at the gate. We didn't allow anyone to come in until I finished. And I was in there. I finished urinating, and then he said, "It's time for us to go now." And he was right behind me, and he had a pistol. He had a pistol on the side. I'm not used to this, and I said to myself, "Oh Lord, I'm not used to this kind of thing, but where I am, if this is what is needed, well, we'll go for it." I said, in a church building, you are thinking of someone coming to shoot me from Africa. Who knows that I'm even there? You understand? Who knows I'm even there that he will say, "I'm coming to shoot Reverend Sasu." But so it happened. I went, I did my duty. It was okay. I came out. When I was leaving for the house, there was no security man guarding me. After I left there was no security man guarding me. And so if someone wanted to shoot me, wouldn't that person be able to shoot me? But it didn't want to happen in their church building. So people have their own way of assessing things. After I'm finished, if you are on your own, help yourself. But they didn't know that I had helped myself before coming there. And so, please, I want you, if you'll all say this affirmation after me. The consciousness of my oneness with God is the basis of my prosperity. God can and does and will meet all my human needs on time and in divine order. The consciousness of my oneness with God is the basis of my prosperity. God can and does and will meet all my human needs on time and in divine order. Note this, and when you go home, say it. When you meet any challenge, say it and report back to me. Don't report back to me after a week or after 21 days. Let us just use this, and for those of us here, let us see how it works. Look, I've told you, when people say that times are hard, there is no money, you go to the bank, go and find a strategic place and stand and watch people go in to the bank and come out. What are they going to do? What are they doing at the bank? They are taking in money or taking out money. And if you don't have money to take in or take out, then you have to find a way of positioning yourself so that money can find you. And it starts with your mental state. Because if you keep on saying, I have no money, I have no money, you will have no money. They say to those who have, more will be given. And those who have not, even the little that they have will be taken away from them. Because you say you don't have, so you shouldn't have. That is why I don't like tagging people, this is a poor person. No. The person may be going through that experience, but something can happen to change it. I've seen a lot of rich people become poor and a lot of poor people become rich. It's all a state of their consciousness. And so maintain a positive state of consciousness and your life will be positive oriented. Namaste.